He is billing them for hours that he spends, like, shopping for clothes when he's going to do appearances on TV.
Wow.
And they found out that he was already shopping book deals. So this whole thing for him was like a publicity stunt.
Yeah.
And to siphon money. So the Rittenhouse family drops him. They hire a new legal team. Well, at this point, the Rittenhouse family also create a website of their own where they're fucking selling merch that says Free Kyle on it.
This does not look good.
There are people that died in this situation.
Yeah.
And you're selling Free Kyle and shirts that say self-defense is a right, not a privilege. Kyle was also seen at a bar called Pudgy's, and he was wearing a shirt that said free as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Again, he's still 17, but he's vaping and drinking beers, and he's taking pictures with people flashing the OK sign. And you know that that has now become a sign for a white supremacy group.
Yes.
The Proud Boys.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing. So he throws up the OK sign and takes these pictures. And these guys, one of the guys has a fucking Proud Boys tattoo on his arm that's visible. So saying that you don't know who the fuck they are is not a good excuse. He's also then flown out to Miami, and I want to know, what the fuck does your, what's it called? Bond. Your bond.
Oh, yeah.
What is it called? I always fuck this up. When you're out on probation, out on parole, that's not parole. Well, you're out on bail.
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to say. And he's underage drinking, but I guess in the state of Wisconsin, as long as his mom was present, which she was there, he's allowed to drink.
God.
Loopholes like a motherfucker.
Uh-huh.
And you're flying to Miami?
Yeah.
Isn't there a thing like you can't leave the county? I was going to say county.
Oh, probably. I don't know.
So he flies out to Miami and has lunch with this guy named Enrique Tarrio, who is a fucking Proud Boys leader.
All right.
Yeah, he's picked up by the airport by this guy and everything. So, after all this hits the media as a means to distance himself from the Proud Boys and the other white supremacy groups that he's been shown affiliating himself with, the Rittenhouses sit down with a reporter from the New Yorker, and they explain. It makes me laugh because it's like, I'm not racist, I have a black friend.
Right.
But they say, they're not racist, they have black relatives. And they agree that Derek Chauvin killed George Floyd. And Faith, the oldest sister, was a Bernie Sanders supporter. So how can they be racist?
Oh my gosh.
Such bullshit. So now I'm going to go ahead and get into the trial.
Okay.
Do you need a break?
No, I just need to shift my butt.
So the trial for Kyle Rittenhouse starts on November 2nd with Judge Bruce Schroeder presiding. And he is a trash judge.
Oh no.
Fucking trash bag judge. But I'll get into that later. Opening arguments go kind of as expected. The defense is painting a picture that Kyle's life was in danger. He did what he had to do to protect himself. All that shit, self-defense. While the prosecution is arguing that he's an inexperienced teenager that lied about being old enough to be toting around a fucking gun in the first place. He also lied about having medical training, and he basically incited the chaos that led to the shooting.
Right.
Now, I'm not going to cover the trial in detail. If you want to watch it, you can literally watch the entire thing online. But instead, I'm just going to hit on some key points from both sides. So the prosecution brought several witnesses to the stand, including some military veterans that were there that night, kind of hanging out with Kyle and Dominic before they assumed their fucking positions.
Right.
And they both testified that Kyle told both of them that he was old enough to have a gun, and told them that he was a certified medic.
Okay.
There's also video of these guys hanging out with Kyle, and he's wearing blue surgical gloves and, like, chain smoking in this parking lot with these other guys toting guns.
Yeah.
He's trying so hard to fit in. You know
so
that
hard.
That's exactly what he's doing.
Uh-huh.
So the prosecution wanted to show the jury those videos that I talked about earlier, him punching that girl in the back and him saying, if I had my gun, I'd shoot these guys coming out of the CVS. But the judge denied it. The defense wanted to make some big moves to show that Kyle was not provoked, but instead it was the victims that provoked it by diving into the victim's criminal history.
I don't like that.
I don't either. The judge denied that as well.
Okay.
And also, just a side note, the judge did not allow them to be called victims in the trial.
Really?
He said that was a loaded question and that they could refer to them as rioters, looters, or arsons, but not victims.
Fuck off, dude.
Right? I'm telling you, he's a trash bag human. So just in case you want to know what the defense was going to use...
Yeah.
Do you want me to tell you about the victims and their criminal history?
Okay.
It doesn't matter. No one deserves to die.
No, it doesn't.
But it's crazy.
Okay.
It's fucking crazy. And I totally agree it should not be used in court. But I'm going to tell you anyway. So Joseph Rosenbaum, the guy that was first shot in the parking lot, he was actually homeless at the time. He and his girlfriend had been in and out of motels, and that's why he was probably carrying that bag that had deodorant and
socks
and shit in it. He had also just been released from the hospital the day before following a suicide attempt. And he had previously been in prison for 15 years because he was convicted of sexual conduct with a child.
Ew.
He also had misdemeanor cases for domestic abuse and disorderly conduct, but that is nothing compared to the 11 counts of sexual activity with 5 different boys from the ages of 9 to 11. I don't know the details. I don't want to know the details of that case. I don't know how he had access to these boys.
Wow.
But 11 counts. He was a goddamn monster.
That's icky.
He was a fucking monster.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't give Kyle the right to shoot him.
No.
But he was a fucking monster. Speaking of rights to shoot him, again, I don't know who gets the right to shoot anybody, but there were a bunch of videos that surfaced of Rosenbaum basically walking up to a bunch of random people who were open carrying weapons, getting in their face and saying, shoot me, and he's got his arms fist clenched, arms down to his side, and he's puffing up his chest, inciting these people to shoot him. At one point he yells a racial slur to somebody and says, shoot me. So
gotcha. When
Kyle says he was running after me, saying he was going to kill me, which he had also threatened to kill a couple of other people that night carrying weapons.
Mm-hmm. And they did what?
They did not. Exactly. I agree with you 100%, but I'm just saying I do not think Kyle lied about that.
Yeah.
Do I think he then needed to turn around and shoot this man in the chest? No. But I don't think he lied about Rosenbaum chasing after him and saying, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
Then the next guy, Anthony Huber, he was the second man that was killed. He had the skateboard.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he had been struggling with mental illness all throughout his life, but who the fuck isn't?
Right.
All of us are. But his record consists of domestic abuse with strangulation.
Ooh.
Possessing drug paraphernalia, but again, who isn't?
Right.
And reckless endangerment with possession of a deadly weapon and false imprisonment. So holding someone against their
somebody.
Holding someone against their will.
Yeah.
All of which he did prison time for.
Okay.
Not the best look there either.
No.
So then we go on to the last victim, the one that survived, Gage Grosskreutz. Grosskreutz is a hard name to say. Well, this guy had a fucking lengthy rap sheet. Mm-hmm. The guy that got shot in the arm.
Mm-hmm.
Many of his cases were dismissed, and there was felony that was expunged from his record, so I don't really know what it was for. But the dismissed ones for things like noise complaints, there was one for drunk driving, not showing obedience to officers.
So mouthing off?
I guess that's such a shitty thing to say. Not showing, we have to, I guess we do have to show obedience.
Sit down. No, I'm not going to sit down. All right, I'm going to charge you.
Right, it could have been something that stupid. But in 2016, he was convicted of possession of a firearm while intoxicated. And I think it was interesting because he is the one that had the firearm on him that night.
Uh-huh.
So if you get convicted of that, are you then allowed to still open carry a gun?
I wouldn't think so.
I don't know. They didn't say anything about it, so I don't know. Anyways, with all that being said, I think it was right of Judge Schroeder not to make that admissible in court, just because they're not on trial. Right. Kyle is on trial.
Right.
The prosecution also wanted to show the jury all those interactions that Kyle had with the white supremacy groups after the fact. But the defense argued that Kyle did not know who they were and did not know what the OK sign meant, just was innocent in that, and the judge agreed and didn't allow it in court. Really, all the prosecution could do was argue that Kyle was not in danger of his life and he didn't have the right to fire. And the best way to do that was to bring Gage Grosskreutz to the stand, the survivor. Well, he testified that he had actually come down to the protest that night to document the event and administer aid to anyone who needed it because, unlike Kyle, he was actually a certified medic. He said that when Kyle started running past him, he heard all the people yelling to stop him and that he had shot somebody. And he assumed that Kyle had shot somebody and was trying to run away.
Yeah, which he was.
Exactly. And he said that the gun was in his hand, but he didn't point it at Kyle because as soon as he saw him shoot Anthony Huber, he put his hands up. And you can see it in the video. He put his hands up in the air, but he said while his hands were in the air, Kyle trained the gun on him.
Yeah.
Like I said. He also said that Kyle pulled the trigger, but it didn't fire. So he took that opportunity to grab for his gun again and go towards Kyle because he was going to try to grab
the barrel.
Kyle's barrel and his gun at the same time. He said he didn't have intentions of shooting Kyle, but he wanted to stop him from shooting someone else. But that's whenever he got shot in the arm. And of course, all of that happened within seconds on the video, so it's hard to decipher all of that. You kind of have to take his word for it. It's a grainy video, it's at night, it's kind of far away, it's hard to see, but I also, when I saw it with my own eyes, not even knowing what he said happened, that's what looked like it happened to me.
Okay.
Yeah. So the trial goes on, and they're pulling witnesses, both sides are, to plead their case, obviously, and they pull people who said that Kyle was, like, pale and nervous almost all of the night, like he didn't know he shouldn't have been there, he was inexperienced. They brought in people who said, like I said, Rosenbaum was threatening to kill them, that he was going after anybody that had a firearm. They brought Anthony Huber's aunt to the stand, who said that he was peaceful and would have never tried to hurt anybody, that it was obvious he was trying to stop what he thought was a murderer. Yeah. But then the defense read a police report where Anthony had held a knife to his brother's throat and told him that if he didn't start cleaning his room, he would kill him like a pig.
Well, clean your fucking room, dude.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Everything is so fucking gray in this trial. Yeah. Nothing is black and white. Everything is gray. Well, the defense also brought up a use of force expert. Did you know that those existed?
I did not.
I didn't either. But they bring a use of force expert who slowed down the footage and explained that Kyle had every reason to fear for his life with the victims. That's what the defense did. Now, the prosecution was like, we didn't know about this use of force expert.
Yeah, right.
And the judge said, we're going to allow it, and you have 20 minutes to find an accredited person to say something against him. 20 minutes.
That's fucked up.
Right. So, of course, they couldn't fucking find anybody to discredit this use of force expert. Right. Really, the trial was all over the place, and then they put Kyle on the stand. And to sum up what he said in his defense was, Rosenbaum chased him and grabbed the barrel of his gun, so he shot. Huber hit him with a skateboard and went for his gun, so he shot. Grosskreutz lunged at him with a pistol in his hand, pointed at his head, so he shot. Everything was self-defense. When he started talking about Rosenbaum chasing him, he started sobbing, which is what I saw on TV, and it looked, like I said, ridiculous. Now, we've talked about this so many times on the podcast. It's hard to judge somebody when they're going through grief or PTSD or talking about any trauma. But I'm telling you right now, it looked like right before someone was like, can you cry on command? And he was like, oh, fuck, watch this.
I got this.
I got this. I mean, it was hard to watch.
Wow.
On November 15th, they made closing arguments, and each side was given 2.5 fucking hours for closing arguments.
Jeez.
That's a long time.
That's a very long time.
You know that jury was like, are you serious?
Yeah.
So after closing arguments, the judge dropped the charge of unlawful possession of a firearm for Kyle because there is a fucking loophole in the Wisconsin law they only cited in that law short barrel guns.
Oh my God.
But since he had a long barrel gun, the judge dropped it. That's crazy. That's crazy. So let's talk about why this judge is the fucking worst. So shout out to the TikToker Midas Touch for compiling this list for me so I didn't have to do it by myself. I did go fact check everything, and 90% of what I'm about to say is recorded live because he's being recorded.
Right.
So this is why he's the fucking worst. Like I already mentioned, he wouldn't allow the term victim because it was a loaded term. Yes. However, he could call them rioters, looters, and arsonists, even though there was zero evidence that they had stolen anything or lit any